It's Way Up with Angela Yee. I'm Angela Yee, and my Capricorn sister is here.
We're in the building.
Estelle.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm actually really good, man.
Listen, I was talking about you the other day with Ada Rodriguez.
Yes.
She told me she has an amazing interview that she did with you.
Yeah, we did on her new podcast. I'm excited for people to hear it. Yeah.
Oh man, I can't wait. She was excited about it.
That's good.
You know,
that's good.
But listen, you're a pro at this anyway.
Yeah.
So
I'm in front and behind now. Like it's weird.
Do you I love that. I feel like you're so like multi-faceted when it comes to being an artist, but also being a host, also doing voiceovers, also curating playlists, just all things.
All the things. It's that idea of like when you leave, you don't want God to be like, you left the talent on the table. You know, I feel like I'm just going to go through them all.
Is it so initially for you, because I know you grew up in a household where, you know, even...
My mom was not she was definitely churchified, but she gave us our freedom. That's one thing I'll say about my mom and my family. My mom was very much like, go and learn how to do it and do it.
Okay.
Do it though. You know,
and make sure you do it.
Do it. Have a backup, but do it. Yeah.
And it takes a while in the beginning.
Yeah, it does.
You know, and for people to understand the journey, especially for our parents, because when things ain't happening right away and they can't understand, and they also want to protect you.
Exactly. I mean, look, I come from a huge family. There's so many of us. People know that about me, I feel like. But you know, like she was very much like, you're the oldest girl. You have to give people the example. You have to give the rest of them the example. So you can't F up. Yeah. You know, and there was a lot of pressure on that for me.
They always say it's hardest for the oldest child.
Yeah. What's that mean? They say who takes care of the oldest child? God? Or the ancestors? Yeah.
I never heard that one.
The ancestors take care of the oldest child?
I'm the youngest, so, you know. That's when the parents have been through everything. They're like, whatever, just do your thing. Yeah. Like, go wild. Yep. But the oldest one?
Yeah. It's just me, my grannies, my granddads, and the prayer. Yeah.
You know, I'm excited to be able to make an announcement with you today.
Yay! Me too.
So, I am honored to be able to make this announcement.
Yeah, it's time.
It's time.
I know.
It's time.
Yeah.
It's time for more Estelle.
Music.
Okay?
Yeah.
We talked about all these other things that you have going on, but it's time for some Estelle music.
Yeah. I'm back. I'm excited. Not back, but like, here's some new music. Here's something fresh. This is my new album's coming, but we have a new song.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah. Singing it already.
You heard me?
Yeah, let's go.
So yes, I did get a little preview, and you guys are gonna get to hear the song too. But it feels like I was trying to figure out the sample, or is there? It's not. It sounds like it's so nostalgic feeling.
It is. This whole project for me was just about joy. So I went back into all the songs and all the sounds and all the feelings that made me feel joy and made me feel like myself. You know, my favorite self, not the best self because, you know, it's subjective. My favorite self. And my favorite self is when I'm dancing, when I'm having a good time. We've been in places and spaces together, and I look like...
We had a birthday party together.
in the panini. Yes. And I regret nothing. I danced so hard. But that, for me, was exactly the energy. Like, I'm at my most joyful when I'm dancing, having fun, you know, and I had started recording this album before that, like, and throughout the panini, the panna cotta, the pandarosa, whatever you want to call it, them 4 years that we missed. But that whole time, and I just realized that, it's the joy for me. It's when I'm happy, it's when I'm in my light, you know, that I feel good music.
And one thing I will say about Estelle, everybody that knows you loves you. Like, you show so much love to people, whether or not
they deserve it. They believe
whether
it.
or not they deserve it.
They believe it. You know, everyone deserves love. You know, I believe that for sure.
All right, and so you're talking about your best like times and recording this project. How many songs?
Right now we're keeping it short. It's between 10 and 12. I don't believe I need 100 records on that album for people to hear the intent for me. And also I like albums that are kind of like you put it on, it runs through and you're like, no, run it back. Right. Like, oh, that's it. You know, I like those albums.
Yeah, you don't want an album where it's like, this shit is still going.
It's still, I'm tired. I don't ever want to feel tired of hearing my own. So I try to make music that I wouldn't feel tired hearing.
This is a good time too. You did that whole mashup of American Boy. That was a vibe.
Thank you. I mean, look, American Boy is the song that keeps on giving.
You know what?
I'm so
Most
grateful.
people are not gonna have an American Boy, so
It's
you
a
gotta
forever song.
appreciate it. It's a forever song.
I literally pray for that song. Like when we were making it, I remember being in the studio like before, going, God, I just want a record that till the end of time I can play.
Right.
Till whenever, whatever. And without me even trying, like not putting in so much effort, but people just love the record. And I think it's because I went in singing it and I was happy. I literally was smiling throughout the whole thing, like, oh, this is jokes. This is cool. If they never play this record on anyone's radio station, I'm going to go to Ibiza and in Greece and Santorini or wherever
And I'm going to play
it. And I'm going to play it. And I'm going to make your money back. Don't worry, we'll be good, But never needed to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I remember reading that you were in Miami when you
having a good time.
When you did that song, having the time of your life.
Living my
Those
best life.
Miami days.
Baby, young. To be young and in Miami. Baby, it's a good time. No, that's what Miami's for when you're young. But I had a ball. We don't have anything like that in the UK. And
Oh, really?
No, it's nothing like that.
I'm trying to think. So where do people go? And I remember
Greece,
traveling there.
Ibiza,
Okay.
Santorini, Ayia Napa at the time. It was all that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I always feel like that's the party central for real. Like going to, no?
Going to London?
Because first of all, I feel, I do kind of feel like that because it looks like London parties be lit.
They do. Like, it's subjective, though. It is.
And then, we be watching Top Boy and Super Cell. No,
Lord. She get me started on that. No. It's all subjective, isn't it? It's all like a slice of London life. It's a slice of this, but parties are fun when you're in the parties and but for the majority of my life, I've been in the parties and part of the parties and and then we do have fun there, but like as far as the sun, sea, sand of it all, we don't have sun, sea, sand like that.
I think I've been to, where is it? Brighton?
Wow.
Yeah, random.
That's random. That's like going to Coney Island.
Because you know what? I'm going to tell you why. Because I used to work for Wu-Tang. And so going on tour, I've been all over.
Those places,
And so I remember having a show in Brighton and being like, this is amazing. I never even,
Wow.
I
Where
mean,
did you
it
go?
was
I'm
fun
like, where
around
did they
the
take you
beach.
in Brighton? That's strange.
Just because the beach was there, the sand. I never visualized that.
Well, we don't have that, like, the lifestyle of, like, like, there's the restaurants and then there's the music and then there's everyone's naked because there's not really any sun like that. So Miami's just a different vibe. Yeah.
All right. And so for you, like deciding that you wanted to put out a whole project, what was that process? And why did you say now this is
time?
This is time.
I think I started recording this, and I always do this where people ask me, why does it take so long? I start recording in drips. And I had did one record in like 2017, another in 2018. In between everything else I was doing, touring, losing my mind, getting my mind back, all kinds of like emotional breakthroughs and awakenings and all the spiritual things you would think about. I was recording in between it all. And I feel like I got to a point where I was like, no, I like this body, I like this music, and I think it's time to put it out. Yeah, and this year.
So do you have a date?
I have a date that's coming out in fall. I say fall. I'm aiming for October, but the very first record comes out. I'm very, very excited. It's called OI.
You heard me singing it.
Yeah.
Now don't judge, okay? Because it doesn't sound like that for real when she's singing it.
No,
Not
but
the way I did it.
Man, however you did it sounds good. That's the point of it. My thing is just I understand this about myself as an artist. I write records that make people feel joy. And as however they sing it, however they get it, however they experience it, that's exactly as it's meant to be. I don't judge people on that.
I feel like as a person that, because you curate music lists and and study music.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to hear what this whole project is going to sound like. I've seen some of the interviews you did because you have your own show as well.
Yep.
Shout out to the Estelle show, Estelle's house.
Yeah.
And you've been able to sit down and talk to like a Willow Smith about, jazz and
just joyfully and pridefully, like, man, it's one thing coming into music and being me and feeling like I was an anomaly or a weirdo back then because I had American Boy and then I'd be in there talking about, now Ella Fitzgerald is the great. And they're looking at me like, but this don't sound nothing like, and I was like, wait for the rest of that, and to see Willow Smith, 10, 15 years later be like, yeah, it's fine. I played Don Blackman in my sleep, and, and Ella Fitzgerald's and she's 12.
Right.
And that's no disrespect. She's young.
Yeah, she's
and
young,
it fills me with so much joy. It's like, oh my goodness, like this is why I did it. This is kind of what we was on.
Yeah, it reminds me of, they used to have those parties where they'll play like the samples, the original songs
exactly
that somebody sampled. Yeah. And you're like, oh, I didn't even realize,
Yeah.
Even for me, like working for Wu-Tang, like I said, a lot of their songs and RZA's sound comes from old school.
You understand it.
Yeah, and I enjoy that.
Yeah.
But it's hard because sometimes like the younger generation feel like that's old.
I think there's a bit more of a research where they're kind of rediscovering. And I think what's on us, the elders, to do is not to shame them about it, because I didn't know till I knew,
right?
A lot of stuff, and I did a lot of personal research once I knew, because I need to know when I need to know. I never like to be the artist that's like, oh, really? That was a sample? I need to know, So my thing is just like not shaming them, not making them feel weird about learning, because we was young too. Like we was 12, we was 20, we was,
I remember growing up and listening to like my parents' music all the time.
Yeah, same.
Yeah,
same.
But the kids, I guess now listening to their parents' music is listening to something different.
Their parents' music is Jodeci, which throws me for a loop every other second.
People are like sampling Jodeci now, which is amazing to hear. Some of these, hip hop and R&B songs that are sampling songs is like, this not even that old.
You're like, wait, this not old. I was playing this yesterday. But that's how our parents felt. Like it's a generational thing. I think it's just like coming to terms with like it's okay to know that was still what we listened to growing up, but it's still good today, you know, and it's okay if they sample it and rediscover it, and it's fine.
Now, how hard was it when you had to do the, I saw the discussion you had about the greatest albums of all time.
Oh, God.
That's the 100 greatest albums of all time. How hard is that to come up, with the list? And I'm even thinking about before you came, I was like, ooh, I want to ask Estelle about comparing, even from artists, like which Tribe Called Quest album was the best, or
it's triple tough
which Michael Jackson album.
What are we doing? Let's not a discussion.
Was like the best for him.
It's like that's not an and or. That's like a double one, double two, like 3 and 3, like Stevie Wonder and Michael. Like we're not gonna put one above the other. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
For me, look, the process was easy for me because I was like, let me just put my favorite 10 in and hope for the best again.
So let's go over that now. Your favorite 10.
That's hard.
That's
hard. Look, number one and number two.
Give us your favorites.
I may give you my 5. Number 1 and number 2 might be Stevie and Michael Drawn. Like I can't decide which album, and I can't decide which one should go first. They're the best. They're the greatest.
But which album?
All right, so I would say Off the Wall over Thriller.
Okay,
because people are gonna have their moments, and I always say this: Off the Wall changed the sound of R&B, and Thriller continued the conversation.
Okay,
of the sound changing, and there was Thriller, so but the sound of Off the Wall as a cohesive album changed the entire trajectory of R&B music at that time.
All right.
So that's my
I can't wait to post this and have people.
I've said it and people are like, what? And I'm like, think about it. Have a think. Stevie Wonder. Jeez, I don't even know where to go. It's like all the albums are flashing. Oh my goodness, the orange one.
The orange one?
The orange album.
What's the name of that album? I know what you're talking about.
The orange album.
You know what's hard too? Because sometimes I don't remember what was on which album.
And this is the part for me that's like, that I'm rediscovering about the sleeves. It's the album sleeves. Hold on. No, Innovisions.
Okay, Innovisions.
Innovisions.
Let me see what was on that album.
Innovisions. That whole cohesive album had me like...
Oh, wow. That was his 16th album.
And imagine... It took 16 to get to that level of cohesion and that level of beauty and that level of just... It felt like a Broadway...
higher ground, living for the city. Yep. Don't you worry about a thing.
Yep, keep going. Like it's just back to back to back.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. That is an amazing album.
Yeah. And that album for me was just like, oh my goodness, this is like a stage play. Like, what are we doing? Like, how did you think of this? Where were you at in your spirit and in your time?
Wow. Okay. All right. So that's
Those
the one
three.
and the two.
2, 3.
How did I got to three? Okay, go ahead.
2. All right. Prince, Purple Rain. It's gonna be Purple Rain. That's
Prince is one of Prince is my favorite.
One of my favorites. And then it gets to like Bob Marley, Exodus.
Okay.
Exodus.
Did you watch the Bob Marley movie?
And Exodus, because of one, knowing more about his story, and I read the books, and I read Rita Marley's book, and I'm in the middle of his mother's book, and so knowing the entire story and understanding who he was one thing. You know, the idea of the monogamous and the 1-2 versus the he was of free love of the era. And if you think about it, there were so many other artists who were in free love, but they just never looked at them, never vilified them, never put them in any categories as weirdos.
And I feel like that time period was
very free love.
Yeah,
Everybody
it was the
like,
era for it.
It was the era for it, yeah. But the album that came of it, understanding that he was truly in Exodus, like he was really exiled, you know, to a degree, couldn't go back home, but it was dangerous on everyone's accounts, and had to go and make music in a foreign place, understanding that personally, not that I was exiled in any capacity, but being in another place making music, that, and I'm trying to reconcile between being home and being somewhere else. That album makes me feel seen.
You have a connection.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you really did have to move here to record, because that's where you were signed.
It's a different thing, yeah. And, you know, there was always the option to go home and do it in London, but, you know, destinies are destinies. You know, it's supposed to be here.
It's interesting to see how much music has, you know, changed
since
then. And even seeing like different sounds, you know, how drill has been incorporated here.
I'm the biggest cheerer honor of all of it. Like that's a word, cheerer honor. I like that. Yeah, it's a good word. Cheerer honor. I'm the biggest cheerer honor. We make up words. Make me feel happy. The biggest cheerer honor of anybody who's doing their dream. I don't care what it's meant to sound like to anybody. If it sounds right to you, and it's giving something good to the world, like I listen to words, I listen to lyrics too. Do it.
And even Afrobeats, to see how Afrobeats has taken over. Look, you did that Essence Festival when you curated that whole reggae, because you had the Lovers Rock, which, by the way, I love.
Thank you.
That is such my vibe.
Thank you.
But when you curated that whole experience, that was something amazing. And I feel like it was also like, you know, a precursor, because you were on that vibe before all of this.
We would do at Essence Fest, every single time I was at Essence Fest, I would do a section of my show where I would play African artists, West African artists, soca artists, and I would just have a good jump up, and everybody was in it. And every year we would tell Essence, let us do this as a stage set, please. And I think maybe the last year before the Panini, Essence were like, great, come on and do it. And we did it on the main stage, and we had Marsha Montano, Sister Nancy,
huge,
Wayne Wonder, Mr. Vegas, a bunch of West Indian and African artists. While they was there, like, everybody came and performed, and then we did the after party. And that was another thing. Like, so to me, I've been part of making sure that the culture sees the entire spectrum of black music, not just R&B, not just hip hop. No, there's soca, there's reggae, there's dancehall, there's Afrobeats. It's all different. You know, and that's been what I've done in my music, so it was a natural carryover.
And when they perform live, okay, it is nothing like a soca performance.
You know.
Nothing like an Afrobeats performance. We know what it is.
We know what it is.
And for you, even interviewing these artists, I'm sure they're all like, let's collab, let's do something together. You know, because you're, even in the circle of other artists, you're very well respected.
I appreciate that
too.
I'm always very much like, let's do it, and I'm also like, let's do it if it's right. You know, I never want to force myself on to people or be like, let's make sure that we, you know, I think everything that's good that has ever come from me as an artist has come naturally, has become because we just kind of fell into it, or it was a natural, like, yeah, cool, boom, 1, 2, 3. It was never forced or pushed, or I didn't have to stress no one's management out about nothing. It was none of that. It was always like, here, I'm gonna send it back. You know, like, it was just done. And the more grown I get, the more I'm like, let's get in the same room.
Yeah, it's different.
Let's do this differently, you know. Let's get in the spirit and get the joy together and really execute. So, you know, and then I'm very much like, as and when I feel, when I record when I feel, instead of on a schedule. So that.
What was the process like recording this?
4 hours. I would call this because half of it was in the panini. So me and the producer Keith Harris were like, I was like, Keith, I have an idea. Have you got 4 hours? And he'd be like, cool. So it's me, him, my manager, and maybe his right hand guy. And we went in the studio 4 hours at a time, and I would vocal, and he would produce, and I would leave, and then he'd send me a finished track, and that's how we did every single record.
Why is 4 hours your magic number?
I don't know. I just feel like it's almost like God doesn't let me. This is my theory. If I go over 4 hours, I feel like I start overthinking it.
Okay.
And God doesn't want me to overthink things. He likes to just give me the thing and say the thing and then get out of the way.
That's just so interesting because people will lock out the studio for like 12-hour blocks and be in there. Yeah.
We've been a part of that. That's a lot of wasted studio time, a lot of wasted budgets, and budgets aside, and it's never about the budgets. For me, it's just about getting the intent of the work out. And I think when you spend more time, well, my grandma used to say, if you leave me here long enough, I'm gonna lie. If you have me sitting here for longer than I need to be, I'm gonna tell a lie. So I should leave. And that's kind of my. If I sit here longer. No. Well, I'm not lying if I'm dating you and it's all good, and the conversation is gonna be good, but. If I'm sitting in a space where it's longer than it needs to be there, I'm probably gonna start lying. So let me leave. I'm a good Irish goodbye. I don't know if that's offensive. I'm good at the Irish goodbye. Yeah. I will slide out of a building and no one will know I'm left.
Me too. I'll be like, I'll be right. I'm going to the bathroom.
Okay.
Never to come back.
In my Uber or in my car.
People be like, where did you go? You just don't answer.
Yeah.
Or sometimes you just respond later and be like, oh, my bad. I was trying to
leave.
I couldn't get back to the table. I've done that.
At this point, my friends know me. They're like, she looked at her phone more than twice. She's in her car.
And then, listen, my friends know me well enough to know if I go to the bathroom, they got to come with me.
To make sure I
walk
back.
You are not going without me to the bathroom.
Like, I'm going to leave. I'm going to go. It's a Capricorn thing. I'm going to go home.
We don't even like being out like that. I have a fun for a little while I'm there, but then
it's intentional when I leave. And again, I like to go have fun. Mm-hmm. I like to be the older I get, the more growner I get. I say saying old because old is subjective.
The more growner, yeah.
The more growner I get. Make it up words here. The more growner I get, the more I'm like, I intentionally want to go be happy. I love my house. Mm-hmm. I really like my bedroom. I like my home. I have a great backyard. I have a wonderful living room. I like the space I'm in. I made a space I don't have to run away from. And I'm happy with it. So if I leave, it's intentional to go be happy somewhere else. And if I'm not going to be happy somewhere else, probably not going.
Wait, so do you still live in New York? Because you named all those things. I was like, you must have moved out of New York.
She said a backyard. No, I live in LA.
Like, I got to get out of here.
I have a terrace now. Look, no, it really is about like, for me at this point, like now it's more about space and time and being happy in my skin wherever I go.
Right.
And I follow it and I listen to it and I don't play about when I feel unsettled or I feel like, time for me to leave.
Right.
Yeah, I could have been there 30 seconds.
Time for me to go. I'm already not feeling the vibe.
Bye, everyone.
And that's when you find out, I'm glad I left. You know what happened after you left? And you're like, that's why I had to get out of there.
Every time since I was a kid, when I was at the party, now I know it's spirit, now I know it's God, I'd be like, you should go home now. And right after that, it becomes, oh, there was a shooting or so-and-so got beat up or da-da-da-da-da. And my mom was like, I'm so glad you listened. My mom always said, I'm so glad you listened. Yeah.
Listen, do you still love recording music the way you used to when you started? Okay.
I do now. Mm-hmm. It took a minute. I had to fall out of love with it and just, reconcile it and all. I could figure out what I was doing again. And I think it was more just based off of the demand or just the peace out, the allowance I wasn't giving myself. Mm-hmm. The grace I wasn't giving myself. I had to completely break for it to get that love back. Because maybe after Lovers Rock, I was like, and nothing to do with Lovers Rock. Right. I had so much fun with Lovers Rock. I was out on the road. People were like, this is so, we had a good time with that album. I felt joy and love like I never felt promoting an album with Lovers Rock because it was my people. I forgot to find all the people from Grenada that lived in New York came and found me.
Album.
Thank you. And, when I went to Jamaica, when I went to all that, like, it was a lot of love. I had fun. But afterwards, it was kind of like, all right, on a personal level now, where we at? How are you happy every day? Like, do you wake up and feed yourself? What do you do? Do you pray anymore? Like, Estelle, what's going on? I was doing a lot of things. So I had to kind of reset, recenter, get rid of friends, get rid of people, reset my energy with family, and myself.
Right.
You know, boundaries, all the things, all the buzzwords on that's me. Hi. I did them all.
I did the work on myself.
I did the work, and I'm still doing the work.
You feel like this is going to be reflected on the new project?
For sure.
Okay.
But in a way that is doable. I never like to write records where it's preachy. I never like to tell people, well, this is what you have to do, or hell and damnation. No.
I'm just thinking about reflection.
Yeah.
Too. Because I agree with sometimes like out of loyalty or out of just being used to something, we'll stay in certain friendships, relationships, even family situations that can be not in our best interest just because we feel an obligation or we're just used to something, but you don't have to be.
This is the part of the song, oh, why this part of this lyric is like, I wrote myself a letter, so I'm changing for the better. You know, lost myself in such frustration trying to get back to my patient. The I you know, it was all about me. It's never about them. It's never somebody else telling you have to. It's your choice. You can stay in it if it makes you feel good, and if it doesn't, you have the power to change every time. And
you know what? No matter what people think, like, you have to do what's best for you. And people will be like, "Oh, she's acting funny."
No, that's fine. Yeah. I am, but it's for everyone's good, including my own. Let me act funny for a while, and you know, if you feel like that's the case, that's okay. You can ask me about it, or you can stay over there. One of the two. But I guarantee, if you ask me about it, and I tell you, yeah, I'm going through some really tough shit. Give me a second. You'll be like, understand, because I'm going through some tough shit too, or I've been through some tough shit. You could recognize it because you're going through it, you know, like, and there ends up being some kind of kinship or discussion about it, where before it had just been like an assumption, and now everyone's like, you know, and most of the times it's everyone's going through something.
Listen, some of my greatest friendships are with people that we don't even talk all the time, because but when we catch up, it's a catch up.
It's a catch up. You mentioned Ida. That's one of my new homegirls. I met her at my birthday.
Yeah,
our birthday.
I had Ida come out.
Yeah, and I met her then, and she's become one of my greatest friends. And she's one of the people. I love that.
I didn't even know that. I thought y'all just knew each other. Okay.
No, but we talk when we talk, and when we talk, it's never surface. You know, we've all been through and dealing with our own stuff, but also we're also on the other side of it, and understanding that life is a big old journey, and it never stops. You never stop learning, because we're unlearning parts of ourselves that were trash. We're coming to terms with our shadows and seeing if we like hanging out with them. I like mine. We cool. I'm not too terrible. You know?
You're not.
I'm not bad.
And you've always been really honest about things in your life. I remember past interviews where you've been extremely like, he...
I used to tell it, but then also I never used to tell my stuff. I never used to be like, look, but also I was a pill. You know?
Yeah, you've never admitted that.
But I can say it now. I used to be a pill. But
what does that mean exactly?
Oh man, I was very short-tempered, and I still am sometimes. And there were times when I was like, you know, I used to project, you know. And to me, it's kind of like, you can't do all of that. I walk in the energy that I like to receive now.
Okay.
You know, so
fair enough.
Know that if I'm being mean, I expect the meanness back. So I try not to be mean, and I try to give everybody I walk up to grace, because under the idea that everybody is going on their journey, I don't know nothing about their journey.
Right.
All I know is that we've found ourselves in the same space, so we must have something in common, good or bad. And give you a break, man. Like, shit, I want a break.
Yeah.
I don't want to be hemmed up all the time. Like, why are you being... I want someone to be like, it's okay, be it. Thank you. You know, every so often, let me be.
Well, listen, I know you have a lot going on. They said we had a hard out, so I just want to make sure
we talked.
Yes. Yeah. And I do miss you being here, like a phone call away.
I'm back. I'm back.
In New York, we got to do some fun things, you know. And are you going to like go on tour? What's the plan for when this project comes out later this year?
Baby, I pray. Yeah, I'm going to go on tour. It's not a hope and pray. I'm going to go on tour. But they won't let me know.
She'd be like, go on the stage, like, I'll be right back. They're like, did she leave?
Like, hold on. Don't give me no ideas. My Uber's outside. The vibe ain't right. I don't like this. No, I will be on tour. But I just hope that people understand and get, first of all, this very first song that comes out. I hope they get it and understand it and feel free when they listen to it and feel joy when they listen to it.
It sounds amazing. It really does have a beautiful, I was like, I told you, I was like, why does it sound like a sample of something? I got to ask her.
It just feels like you know it.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. And it was, I don't know if it was intentional or if it was just like, again, I pray about my songs. I ask God for different things, and this one was just like, I just want people to feel freedom. I want them to feel joy. I want them to feel like they know this, because they do, And to me, this is soul work. This is singing to your soul. This is singing to your joy. This isn't catering to your aesthetic. This is catering to what you need. You know, so this is what that record's about, and this whole album's about, and I hope people get it and feel it.
Will the memoir be coming out around the same time?
The memoir will be out next year. I'm working on that.
Ooh, baby, I cannot wait to. I know there's
some real life stories in there.
I know Estelle has had a juicy life. Okay,
baby. I'll be quiet on the ground because for what? But
people have no idea.
But this is the story. The memoir is more about the lessons I've learned and how to use them in your life. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I always get asked, how do you do this? How do you do this like as an artist? Da-da-da. You know, how do you go from London to the US and you're still you and you don't look tore up? And you know, like, I get it. Like you look good, and I'm like, all right, man. Like, am I supposed to look trash?
And people have to understand that you have consistently been working, not even just on your own music,
others,
but others doing voice, getting to the money,
getting to the bags, but also expanding my career. Like I have voiceover work. I've done features recently with Channel Trey. Mm-hmm. We just put something else up. Hold on, let me think about it. There's so many records, so many features out right now.
Right.
Just did something with Channel Trey. Did something with Theo Croker, who's a new artist. I should say that shit, but a jazz artist.
Yeah, so your interview you guys had,
and like a week later, he was like, "I have something for us," and that was exactly how it worked.
Yeah, I love that.
So we stayed. I stayed working on the music side of it, but as and when we feel it's right, But voiceovers, acting, TV.
Yeah, it's nice to do music when you feel like it, not because
it's a blessing.
It has to pay the bills. It's like I just love it, and it pays the bills. But
that part,
you got to be multifaceted. I feel like.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Estelle, for joining me. I'm excited to hear the whole new project. We're gonna play OI. All right. So y'all don't have to hear me do that. Okay. All right.
She sound good.